There we had the unusual pairing of Cavan and Dublin for what turned out to be a thoroughly entertaining and nail-biting afternoon's football. They flocked in their thousands from the Ulster County hoping to see a Cavan win, but there was to be an early disappointment for these supporters. All the best seats in the Hogan stand were gone up to a half an hour before the throw-in. Well, here's a young Cavan man that did manage to get in through the gates up into the Hogan stand. You looking forward to the match?
Yeah, very much so.
Is this your first time in Croke Park?
No, I've been here 3 times before already.
What part of Cavan are you from?
Outside Dublin, yeah.
And are they going to win today? Are they going to beat the Dubs?
Definitely.
Out on the pitch, the Dublin team looked anxious before the big game. Cavan, by contrast, quietly determined to give it their best, and with no shortage of encouragement from their success-starved followers. With the win behind them in the first half, Cavan soon gave them something to cheer about. This excellent move brought the first score of the game from their full forward, Derek MacDonald. He had been the hero of their quarter-final win over Derry. Another fine point. MacDonald had much to do with Cavan's early flurry, and he was at the end of another enterprising move, this time involving Stephen King and also Michael Faulkner. The point put Cavan 4 up after only as many minutes of play. At the other end, things were not going quite as fluently for Dublin. A couple of points from frees from Barney Rock, plus this one from play, kept the Dubs in contention, without ever really looking impressive. Then, 5 minutes before half-time, came the score that all Cavan seemed to applaud. The move was set up down the right wing by Barry McCardle. John Brady it was who laid on the pass, and Michael Faulkner was there to finish it to the net. A 5-point lead then, 1-5-3 at the interval, and Cavan supporters very well pleased. Dublin had the breeze for the second half, but it was Cavan who took up where they left off in the first. MacDonald had an early chance to sink Dublin, but opted for the point instead. 2 minutes later, Dublin were back in the ball game. From the free kick, it's Mick Galvin to win possession. The support came in from Kieran Duff, and he found his way through the Cavan defence. Then it was Galvin at the other end of the move again. The Cavan goalie, Damien O'Reilly, was prepared to play on. However, when we have a look at the replay, it will show that the ball did in fact cross the line. But Galvin, for his trouble, received a nasty eye injury, but he was back in play moments later. Well, that was the score that Dublin needed to bring them back into contention. Rock and Charlie Redmond cut the deficit before Redmond levelled the scores with that long-range point. 1-6 to 1-6. Cavan hit back, however, and 2 points from frees by Ronan O'Carolan had them in the driving seat once again. Dublin at this stage introduced Noel McCaffrey into the attack, also Alan McNally, to try and swing the game for them. But it was Redmond who was leading the charge. Another fine point from play, and the deficit was down to 1 point once more. A minute later, Barney Rock had this simple free to pop over, and the scores were level once again. Dublin finally took the lead 5 minutes from the end of the match. The vital score coming from the battle-scarred Mick Galvin after good work on the left. A minute later, Carolan had a golden opportunity to level the scores once more. However, he fluffed the chance. And that was much to the disappointment of the Cavan supporters. Rock and Carolan trade frees after that, but it was all over for Cavan. A brave fight, but a narrow defeat, 1-10 to 1-9. Charlie, it's fairly quiet in Croke Park here a few minutes after the match, but it was a hectic hour of football.
Well, we knew Cavan were coming down here to win, and we didn't underestimate the challenge that they'd put up to us, and I don't think our estimation of them fell far short. Their performance against Derry was very good, and we knew we were up against it. We knew at half-time even more so we were up against it. But we came good in the end, and we kept playing football the way we can play football, and it's a win in the end for us.
And Noel McCaffrey came on as a second-half sub during that match into the attack, which would be a little bit of a change for you.
That's right. Well, the way things are going at the moment, you just take whatever position becomes available, and that's what came up today for me. So I was very pleased to get in, to get a chance. Didn't get very much to do, touched the ball once. Nevertheless, we won the match, and that's the important thing for us.
When you came on, things were not going particularly well for Dublin, and it must have looked even more worrying from the sideline.
It looked very bad at one stage. Cavan got off to a flying start, and I thought Dublin had done very well to pin them back to 5-2, and then they got that goal. So it looked as if we had quite a lead to claw back in the second half, and when they started so well, it did look very dicey. And I think we were very, very lucky to get the goal when we did. After that, it was a matter of us keeping our discipline and plugging away, because with the strong wind, and it was a very strong breeze, it was just a matter of keeping the pressure on if possible and putting over the chance when we got them.
But Jim, that was one cracking game of football. Cavan played extremely well, but I'm afraid where it mattered in the end, you weren't there on the scoreboard.
That's true, yeah. We're a bit disappointed. We had the chances to win the match, but Dublin were a bit more experienced, and whatever chances they got, they took them.
You certainly came out flying at them in the first half and did extremely well.
Yeah, we felt that if we're going to be in the game at all, that we'd have to start well and get into them, very early on. And fortunately enough, we got those early scores.
Well, so Cork and Dublin then are through to the National League final on April the 23rd at Croke Park.